Welcome back, everyone. The Small Council, and we welcome back BJ Flores. So good to have you back, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Really proud of everything everybody's been doing. It's been great. And 2026 is going to be a great year, I could tell. A lot of big
A
plans.
100%. I love, honestly, like the Small Council, people don't know, but there's little gems in the Small Council in our chats that lead to other ideas. And whenever I get called a genius, I share the credit because it's a lot of it stems from you guys as well. So
Dude, my favorite is the shadow government. That's my favorite line. It cracks me up every time.
I think that was Leon's term in the
Yeah,
first place.
yeah.
It caught on. But speaking of the shadow government, I think there's a guy called Aaron the Plumber who really thinks that there is an Illuminati within this. I don't know if you guys have been seeing his tweets. It's mind-boggling. I'm not even reply. I don't even know what to say.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
He said he's going to the FBI to report death threats, and
Wow.
then he said to Wade that it was because we tried to take out a life insurance policy, which is, by the way, in every boxing contract ever. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
sometimes people put two and two together and they get 17. So
Yeah. Why would you not want life insurance if you're fighting? That's like,
It ain't got no
I
sense.
think
oh man.
he thinks we benefit from. I don't know. Obviously, you take insurance out on every event in case anything, force
And of
majeure,
course,
fighter
yeah,
gets injured, especially if it's a big event like like a KSI Fury or something like that. But it's standard in all of our contracts. So,
Of course.
but yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell you, it's again. I have to reiterate. We'll get to obviously Misfits Mania, the first of its kind. Um, we nicest guy in the world to work with is Andrew Tate, like easiest guy. And the irony of that, I was just thinking about it. The guy has everything, and the irony that he's so easygoing and cool to work with, and then you've got like influencers who are barely struggling to make ends meet, you know, and they're just the biggest drama, the most difficult to work with. It just doesn't make sense sometimes, you know.
To me, Leon, I think you'll agree with me too, though, is BJ too, probably like it's just anyone that's like kind of actually had to grind through it a little bit and then a bit of the fame came. I think there's always just a different approach those guys have, just a more work-oriented approach where they're like, no, this is the work I gotta do to have the result I want to have. And he was clearly on board with that. Whereas some of these guys, that this is all they've ever done. And
yeah.
it shows. I'll say, it does show sometime.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think let's talk about Misfits Mania a little bit about who we think about some of our champions, and then some of the things we've got to look forward to. Riley, what was your overall thoughts on Misfits Mania? How was the experience for you, and how did you find the fights?
First of all, it's always just such a just gratitude to even be part of it and to get to be there. It was phenomenal event. I think we kept the narrative that we always keep where the fights are so competitive throughout the entire night. It's honestly I rarely see it anywhere else. I don't think the UFC can bring fights that are that close a lot of the time. I don't think anyone can at that level. I thought the matchmaking was absolutely spot on. Like the Warren Spencer Tony Ferguson fight, razor close, just
And I
real
got
dog fights.
I got a lot of shit for that. Like, why is this fight happening, bro? I'm so happy we put that fight on because that was I think that was my best fight of Misfits history. I think that was the best fight we've had for me.
Yeah,
2025 for sure. For
yeah,
sure
yeah.
2025.
Yeah, well, it was in 20. Yeah, it was in 2025, wasn't it? You're right. What else was better though? What else was better back and forth? Tony looked like he might be in trouble in the fourth. Warren went down. Tony said, "Get up!" Like it had all the dramatics of a movie, of a Rocky movie.
It was a good
So
fight. It was a good fight. No one predicted it to be a good fight, but it was a good fight.
Leon,
Warren
what
Shaved.
did you
Williams, I,
Spitting
say?
that too, that was sick.
I
What
think
was?
it was the best like high level 5 round fight we've had. I think there was been some other ones with Joey Essex, a couple other really good fights, but I think a 5 level high level fight or 5 round high level fight was great. Like I didn't expect Warren to perform like that. I thought by the third or fourth round he'd start to wilt, and he had some moments late in that fight, and I was really impressed with him. And I was really impressed with Ben as well. I couldn't believe how much better their boxing ability got, and it's fun to see.
100%, and we'll get to Ben in a bit. But I guess while we're on the co-main event, we'll do this in not in order. But Tony Ferguson really loves being a misfit. You can see it, and his fans love the wave that he's riding on right now. And I can't.
Yeah.
It's such a pleasure having that a legend like Tony Ferguson be our middleweight champ, and to be appreciated as
Yeah.
as a promoter and as a promotion to be appreciated by a high level guy like that, and we appreciate him so much. So it's definitely a nice little love affair right now with his fan base and seeing him perform like that. And Warren, I got to give it to Warren. I think
Yeah.
his training camp or whatever it was, that guy was there to win. That guy was
Oh,
there
yeah.
to really and he wasn't giving up. He had a winner's mentality. His stock went up exponentially. And you now know that whenever you see Warren Spencer fight, it's going to be an exciting fight because we've seen him 3 or 4 times and he's never been bad. Okay, MMA fight excluded, obviously with Dylan, but he didn't get a chance to showcase much there. But yeah, what's next for the champ? What do you guys think would be the next fight? What direction should he go into?
I haven't thought about Tony Ferguson yet. Maybe fight an ex MMA guy in boxing. That would be good.
I know you're thinking about Gibb. You're saying
Oh, like Gibb,
there's
but Gibb, isn't it? Gibbs, he's retired, man. He's enjoying. I see him today.
Gibb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I saw him training with you, so I don't know how retired anyone is when they're training.
But then he's talking about he's going away. He's got Ramadan coming up, things like that. So yeah.
Would Anthony Taylor be a crazy shout for Tony Ferguson?
I think that Anthony just had an underwhelming performance at this card. I don't think, and I love Anthony Taylor, but I don't think I don't think it's the right message. I think if he won
Oh, that's
that
fair.
fight,
Yeah, to get a title shot.
Yeah,
Fair.
no way.
yeah, I think if he won that fight, he should be in various conversations. But we'll see. And
Mams, the thing about it too, though, is AT was 165. He's not really a 165 pounder when he fought Niraj, and it showed. And he had a couple things going on in his personal life, as everybody does, going leading up to a fight like this. But definitely something that could change the state of mind that happened amongst him, and I won't share what it is, but that, and then coupled with being at 165, I think it's a big difference, especially in his older age. He needs to stay at 175. AT's dangerous up there. But one thing I wanted to say about Niraj really quick is me and Riley were sitting next to each other, and in the third round, we saw Tony land an incredible right hand, and all of a sudden, we saw a tooth right in the middle of the ring, sitting right in the middle, kind of more towards the commentator booth, and that's when I became a Warren Spencer fan. I couldn't believe the guy's resilience and toughness, and it was Warren Spencer's tooth that got knocked out from a right hand, fell right in front of us, and in between rounds, we had the referee grab it and take it and give it back to him. But that's the kind of toughness he brought into this fight. And as an influencer, I can't say enough about that. He brought in a real professional mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Incredible.
He really did. Yeah, very impressed with Warren, and there'll be other things on.
What about Slim versus Tony?
Yeah, what about? I was going to say Slim. I like Slim.
Slim's
If
good.
you can't get Gibb, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Slim's
it's a good
good.
fight.
Slim's good. He's dangerous. He can box.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for him to get back out there, put his name in the mix. If he's ready for these guys, which I think him and Tony would be a good fight. I do.
Slim, I think he needs a win again. Come off a win, get a title shot, no problem. Earn it. And Slim was obviously meant to fight on this card against Niraj. So the initial order was like him fighting Niraj, and then AT was supposed to fight MMA against Dennis.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. Is Dennis obviously got injured from that incident at the UFC, which is crazy, and then and Slim was overzealous with his hand injury and thought maybe underestimated how bad it was and got it hurt again. But he was really, really disappointed. So we're eager to get Slim back out again. But yeah, I've actually got some ideas I'll discuss offline with you guys for Tony as well. That could be interesting. But yeah, very happy with that fight. And it was one of those fights where I forgot who won, because really, I know it sounds corny, but the audience won. We won watching it.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones. And then we've got, let's start with Carla Jade. Now, this is a very controversial topic here, but I've seen all kinds of wild comments that she's under the Misfits protection program, which
No.
I love how people come up with it. And I've heard people insinuate all kinds of things that, oh, we're doing her favors for this reason and that reason. And it's, I mean, I don't know if people just say that to say it, or do they really think that we're out here?
Oh no, they believe it. These people believe it.
Yeah.
They believe it.
Like we're out to the judge. Oi, oi.
One thing about I can say about Carla, she does finish the fight strong. She does finish the fight strong.
You know, Leon, I was thinking about this. If you finish the fight strong and you lost the first 3 rounds, which
you should lose the fight.
Huh?
Yeah.
But
if it's a fight,
the judges go back and change their scorecard because they've
I
already
don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Or I don't know.
You can't do it because after every round, you hand your scorecard in. Someone comes and picks your scorecard up, so you can't do that.
Finishing
That's what it
strong
should be
won't
then.
influence the whole fight, right?
Excuse me?
Pardon?
Finishing strong won't influence the whole outcome of the fight.
Oh no,
right?
no. You only win rounds, isn't it?
That's what I'm thinking.
Mams,
I mean,
what happens
she
is
didn't win any 10-8s or anything, so
no.
I don't know.
But she finishes the round strong as well. She doesn't just finish the fight strong. She finishes the round strong. She steals rounds for sure. I think that honestly, I understand it. Like her last, I think 3 fights have been quite close decisions that have just barely gone her way. But fundamentally, that's just credit to her. I mean, she does just enough to sway the judges just enough. She has good body language in there. That's important sometimes, is keeping good body language. And she stung her a couple times. You know, I thought it was close. I wouldn't have wanted to be a judge on that fight, but no, we're not we're not nudging the judges.
I don't know which round it was, but one of them were very close. Carla won the last 2, and I think Taylor won maybe the first 2. So it's not a complete robbery, is it?
No, I don't think it was at all. I think it was a situation where, just really quick, guys, in a 5-round fight, I had Taylor winning the first 2 rounds clearly. She was landing a lot of right hands. She was walking Carla into him. Carla didn't really have any answers. Now, round 3 was a closer round. It was a competitive round, and you could have given it to Taylor. You could have given it to Carla. It kind of depends what you like. Like Riley said, Carla shows a lot of good ring generalship in there. So that's kind of catchy. She shows some, clean shots. And, whenever 1 or 2 judges give the first 2 rounds to one fighter in a 5-round fight, they have a tendency, if it's a close round in the 3rd round, to give it to the other fighter. And I think that's what happened, because Carla clearly won the last 2. And some of the judges gave the 3rd round to Carla, and she's the champion. So I'm all for the decision. Taylor fought really well. I thought she was really good, and she'll go back to drawing board and get better. But I think the judges gave Carla the 3rd round, and she won the 4th and 5th. And as the champ, I think she should get it.
Fair. Yeah, Taylor wasn't happy. And I tried to explain to her, I have no influence on the decision. It's like.
How'd that talk go over?
No, we use the same judges that we use the same commission that Turkey uses for the Saudi fights. So
they were great.
I think they did a great job. There's always going to be some questionable scores, some questionable refereeing, which we'll get to. But
that warrant a rematch? Does it warrant a rematch?
Contractually, Carla signed this fight if she could get a shot at the 125 title, if she wins this fight. So she wants to fight against our new champ, which was Pearl Gonzalez, after another war, by the way.
What? So this will be the first fighter that gets the chance to be like a double champ. Opportunity.
I like that.
I don't know if she won the opportunity to be a double champ.
She keeps winning, and whether we like it or look, one thing you got to say, I don't know what she's not doing right. There's got to be some content, something. But when I see her play this and be this menace, I think there's a lot of potential there. She just has to be.
She's just not a content creator. That's it.
That's the thing. She needs to become one, or just let people know, because she's very funny and quite.
Oh, she is. She is.
She's funny, and she plays the bad guy role very well. She's just lean into that, But there's a lot of people who dislike her, which is always a good sign, because that means there's a lot of people that will watch you. So yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But speaking of Pearl Gonzalez, she had a war with Ty Emery. This is the thing. I knew making that match was going to be fireworks. I've seen both of them fight. Sometimes it backfires when you think that. I thought Nick Lamau against Ben was going to be fireworks, but it was pretty one-sided. This fight was a lot of back and forth. They each took a lot of shots, and when I watched their tapes beforehand, and I'm like, neither of them have amazing defense, but they're both very aggressive and can take a shot. It was a great women's fight, I felt, and Pearl got the decision. I loved the sentimentality of it being dedicated to her dad, who's no longer with us. I thought that was beautiful. So I think Pearl versus Carla might be interesting. I mean, imagine Carla keeps skating with more decisions. Just piss people off.
Figure up. What can you do?
You can't.
I love it.
Yeah. But
My thing, just quick on that, Mams, if I can. I think that with Carla, fundamentally, she's done enough. She wrote it in her contract. She should get out there, but I don't think Pearl will let her skate by. I think Pearl's going to bring the aggression constantly, and styles make fights. And fundamentally, again, like with Taylor, I thought that she could have done more in those last couple rounds. The shots weren't hurting her, and she still pulled back from them, so she should have got in there. I don't think Pearl will let her off, so I think it'll be a much better fight. I think she should get it. That's my opinion. 100%.
I think Carlo will be better at the weight as well.
Me too.
100%.
yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot better version of Carla at 125 than we saw last time. She struggled bad, and I think she looks more healthy as an athlete when she's a little heavier, and I think she's going to have a lot more pop, a lot more stamina, and I think maybe she's not as experienced as Pearl in combat sports, but I think in boxing she's got more boxing matches, I believe. I think that's going to come into play. I'm not saying she's going to win at all, but I think Pearl is I think Carla's a lot better than the last opponent that Pearl had. She kind of led with her face. Carla's going to be a lot more difficult to find. I had Pearl winning that fight kind of one-sided. It was a good fight, but I was pretty one-sided for Pearl, I thought. She was, she had the range. She would step back, land the straight shots. I mean, she knows what she's doing in there. I think her and Carla's a great fight.
It'll be a fun fight. All right.
Oh, yeah.
A superstar is born, Dynamite David Lopez. I mean, that guy put a clinic on, and he's just listen. I know this is going to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about, but you put him against, not that we're going to, but you put him against some top 10, top 5 guys today, I bet you he wins. He's
very
special.
good, man. He's very special. And you know what it is? It's the small things he does. That's what I love. The small things, the feint in, lead hand, lead foot, the selection. Yeah, he's really good, man. Bright future ahead of him.
100%. Very, very good. Very, very happy to have him on. We'll have him back on MF Pro very soon. And speaking of MF Pro, another great performance from the cash man, Amir Anderson. We thought Joe Laws was going to be his biggest threat, and he potentially was, but not for Amir. Amir just did what he does.
Yeah, I thought Amir was going to get tied into the ego, but he stayed a true professional and boxed his head off.
He's methodical, isn't he, Amir?
Very.
Yeah. BJ, what do you think for Amir's future?
Well, I thought, I knew Joe. We know what we're going to get with Joe. And I think we all kind of expected Joe to come out and give it a go. But I told Amir, I said, look, this is a fight that you might have some moments earlier that are difficult, and you need to stick to your game plan. Stay boxing, Joe, and don't get into a phone booth type of fight. And that's it, And I'm all for it. I think Joe's a great character. I really like him. I met his family. He's a great guy. I really like Joe genuinely. He really sparked things up in Nashville and sparked things up in in Dubai. I like him as a character. I'd like to see him back on, but Amir is a level ahead of that. And one thing my old advisor used to tell me is like, don't let these guys who aren't on your level, don't let them hang around with you. Get him out of there. And that's what Amir did, and that's what you want to see out of a good prospect.
Yeah, I agree.
Even that Joe Laws versus Harley Ben, that's still an interesting little matchup. Yeah.
That's the reason I was okay with putting this fight on first, is because I don't think that fight loses intrigue. It's still they're very evenly matched, and I think it'll be a good fun fight and a great trash talking promo leading up to it for sure. Ben Williams said he's gone off and improved, and boy did he! He really did. That version of Ben Williams, I think him against Jarvis may have been a different story.
100%. He went back to the lab, completely reinvented himself. He always had this skill base. And to quickly touch on the last two guys we talked about, what I always look for with young fighters is how do they stay composed in the fight? Because fundamentally, they're going to have the fitness. They're a lot of the time they're going to have the skill and they're going to want to get to war, but a lot of the time they don't have that composure and they just kind of lose it. And frankly, in Ben's earlier fights, that's what it was. He was getting himself drawn into these gunfights. He was losing his composure mid-fight. He didn't have the fitness backing it up, which shows that he didn't have the composure in the camp. And this time it was completely different. He came in as a frankly, he looked like a professional the whole time. The whole process looked professional, and he delivered a professional package. And that's what we're seeing in Amir, and all these other guys. But for him, we hadn't seen that yet, and now it's like, whoa, who do we even put this guy up against? Because he was so
Slim.
professional in his approach.
I like Ben against Slim.
That's a tough fight. That's a tough fight for Slim.
I think
It's a tough
That's a good fight, though.
Slim's got that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
fight. That's a really good fight, actually.
Slim's got
I
that,
like
man.
that fight.
Slim has this weird mid-range. These
Slim has a
looking
mythical ability to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's an exciting one. And Nick Elameo, honestly, that guy is so game. It's very hard to put him out. He said to me, "I've never been punched that hard." Ben Williams hits hard.
Yeah.
You know, harder than any of my other opponents. He's always game. He's always there. He's got potential, but this is the thing, and this is the thing that puts off some influencers. But I don't want it to because I'm not gonna. It's you can't be in a gray area anymore in crossover boxing. You're either
That's
got
it.
to be like you've either got to be Modine, have fun, go in there, get out of breath, do your best, and it'll be an entertaining fight. And that's fine. That's the level, that's the influencers. We love having those fights on. Or you've got to make it like a big part of your life and train your balls off. And if you're part-time, then it's there's not three categories. There's not too many part-timers. If you're a bit of a part-timer and then you fight someone who's taking it serious and training twice a day, every day, that kind of thing, it's going to catch up to you. So you've got people like Ben Williams who are taking it very seriously. That's a big part of their life. Slim has been for a long time, you know. And I think a good example of that is Gibb versus Austin McBroom, for example. You know, Gibb dedicated his life to boxing. Austin has athletic ability. And this is, I'm just bringing up a fight that stuck out, one of the classic fights, the first time they fought. And Austin, I think that's the surprise to him is like, oh shit, this guy's taking it very seriously.
Yeah, he got up off the canvas, boy. That's what good training does. You picture up off the canvas.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And okay, so Niraj, obviously there's some good opportunities for him to be involved. 80, you're right, BJ. He went through a lot, which, you know, it's not our business to talk about with the fans, but he went through a lot, and maybe he should stick to defending his title at 175. He's been successful there. So we've got let's put some suggestions together for who his next fight is and maybe who's Niraj's next fight as well. Even Niraj, Ben Williams, Niraj Slim, still might be fun to make that happen. How would Salt Papi do against Niraj if he comes back, you know?
Nope.
Well, Bobby's got to have a gas tank. He can't be fighting these pros if he doesn't have a gas tank.
You're right. You're right. Gas tank is very important. And then, okay, here's one. The lead up to Dean versus Amado was classic Dean, but he took it a step further. Amado's mum was there. He's a family man. He's a Latin family man.
Don't disrespect Mumsy.
It's a tough one. He those shots, when he was throwing those punches, he had intent. He had venom behind those shots. Real venom, anger, spite.
Yeah.
And I think Dean was just overwhelmed. But I will say in his defense, there were a lot of the refereeing on that fight wasn't my favorite. You know, maybe
a lot of shots, a lot of shots to the back of the head for sure. And you know, but at the same time, that's Amato's style, is to get in there and fight you. He's not really a boxer in the traditional sense. He's definitely more of a fighter. And he was just, frankly, I thought, to me, the tale of that fight was just the size difference. I'd never seen Dean like visibly undersized against an opponent, and Amato came in bigger than I thought he was going to come in. I thought the weight cut was going to do, but he knew how to cut weight. I'll tell you that much. He knew how to cut weight because he came in. He looked really big, and then he didn't fatigue at all. And usually that's the trade-off, right? Is if you have to cut a lot of weight, you're probably going to fatigue. You might not be as durable as normal. No, they obviously know how to cut weight because he came in durable, totally incredibly fit. I talked to BJ right at the start. I was like, no way he holds this pace, and BJ was like, he's gonna hold the pace, and he did. I was blown
Wow.
away because he was
Wow.
coming with so much heat, and he didn't get tired.
And Dean put some nice combos together too. Like he showed some skill there. Like he's
Yeah.
not.
Dean's skillful. He's a skillful fighter, but yeah,
He
Amado
is.
was way too big for him, and he
He is too big.
underestimated Amado. Amado was fueled by something different, and
Yeah.
that's the yeah.
I'd love to see. I'd love to see Amado versus Sami Hamed at
Woo!
155.
That's a really good one.
That's a big fight.
That's a very good
Sons
fight.
Sons of Legends. You know
Gee,
that would be an absolute banger. But
yeah.
I don't know. Gotta see if
Mans,
the
I thought the Amato and the Dean fight. I thought Amato, like Riley said, he overwhelmed him with the size, and Leon said the gas tank was just. I knew he wouldn't get tired. That's how all those boys fight. Like, is Amato as skilled as Emiliano? Absolutely not. But he still got that mentality and that gas tank. And it's not a. We talked about on the broadcast, Riley. It's not like, oh, I'm going to come in and beat you. Like he was really. That was everything he had was into that fight, and I would have been impressed if Dean would have won that fight. I was still kind of impressed with how Dean was able to suck it up for 6 rounds, for going to 6 rounds. Like Dean hasn't fought in a while. That's a tough test for Dean to go in there with the motto. And I'm not going to say he did better than I thought, but he stuck around for 6 rounds. He made it a good fight. He landed some nice jabs, the body, and some nice combos, but he just wasn't able to hurt or do any damage to Amato. And Dean will get better from it. That's a lesson he's going to learn. He's got to be careful. Sometimes you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. It's a good fight, though.
Yeah, and I will say, and it was Dean's camp that they really wanted this fight, and I was like, all right, because I want to see Fox the G versus Dean. That's a fight I've wanted to see for a long time.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Fox the G
Fox
versus Dean.
Yeah, that's a great fight. I love that fight, and I think Fox is going to bring a lot of that same tenacity up to handicap. He's really working at it. So I'd love to see that. I think it's a great fight. I don't think Dean's loss takes away from that fight at all. I think it's still a great fight.
Waleed has been hitting me up and wants back in the mix. Where do we put Waleed?
What's his name? Yadi, isn't it? Yadi, Waleed. What's his name? There's Joe. There's Joey Knight.
Joey Knight, Waleed is a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the Argentinian King wants Joey Knight. They've been beefing.
We got to make that fight. Yeah, I think we got to make that fight.
Yeah, the 135ers are pretty skilled, man. I like those kids.
Yeah,
they're all
the most skilled division in Misfits.
It is, isn't it? All right, so let's go to the main event. Andrew Tate, Chase Demore. Chase retains the title. I think personally, the whole card was really, really exciting to watch. Very fun atmosphere. It was, and if you were there as well, it was beautiful. The atmosphere, the setup, the white, the outdoor experience. It did get a bit chilly later on, around 3 a.m. or whatever it was, but it was a great experience. The vibe was great. When Andrew came out, and we spoke about doing a grand entrance and everything, but he just kept it fairly simple. The crowd were going nuts for him. I think Chase doesn't get the credit because he doesn't look pretty when he boxes. He doesn't have clean shots coming from the hip with the right, turning his hands the right way and doing the things that we've seen technically that we appreciate as boxing fans. But the guy gets the job done. He's strong, he's tenacious, and he doesn't give up. And he has a delusional self-belief that has carried him as far as he's gone. And that delusion sometimes turns into reality. And I think that's exactly what happened for him. Whilst Andrew, on the other hand, had an unexpected adrenaline dump, after the second round or during the second.
Yeah. Chase is a guy who's coming to fight. And he's going to use everything he's got. No technique, chin up, mouth open, and hope for the win. This fight for the winner. He does what he does, and he's winning. So you have to big him up.
You have to big him up. He has. And the thing is, Chase was like, why were you so upset at the press conference? And he thought I was upset because he won. It wasn't that. I was upset because people were getting a flickering screen, and that ruined my night, honestly. Like, I enjoyed moments that I could, but I had so many messages. Oh, there's interruptions. I think even Leon, you told me as well.
Yeah.
that upset me so much, man. It takes the wind out of my sail because there's nothing I can do, literally
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah,
And I've done everything. We tested it 5 times. It was a great feed, no problems. And then on the night, of course. So when you've worked that hard, and then there's people complaining because they can't enjoy the product that you've worked on
Yeah.
creating, of course I'm upset. I was upset all night. It wasn't because of that fight. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
I would have liked it if that fight was more exciting in terms of the back and forth. But because the stakes are so high, it was like KSI
Yeah.
versus Tommy Fury. The stakes are so high that even a boring fight can still be exciting, if that makes sense.
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, what's next for Chase? What's next for Andrew?
Mams, I gave Andrew the first 2 rounds. I thought he came out and boxed enough and did enough, but Chase in the last three, just like everybody said, he really overwhelmed him. It was 6 rounds, right? 6 rounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So Chase, yeah, I had it like I said, I had it 2-4, and Chase just really came on strong down the stretch. I don't know if it was so much Andrew had an adrenaline dump or he just, he hasn't been 6 rounds in just the boxing ring. That's a big difference. Going from a 3-rounder kickboxing fight to a 3-round boxing fight is a massive difference. And going to it straight to a 6 round with a 6'5", 230-pound guy. I know Chase was lighter, but he's naturally a big guy. He's a big guy in there, and he's got a lot of physical traits that make it difficult for a guy like Andrew. Andrew might be used to being more physical than most of the guys he fights at 200, but Chase was more physical than him, and Andrew had been out a while. No excuses. Full respect to Chase. He did a hell of a job. But Andrew learned too that boxing ring. There's no. They're gonna find out quickly in there. Like you really have to have the experience to be able to go in there and get in with a guy like Chase. And if you don't, Chase is going to expose you. And I think that's what happened. And not that Andrew got exposed. I thought he did it. I thought he did a hell of a job. He learned some things in there that night that only Chase could teach him.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. And
Yeah.
how do you think the rematch goes if they have a rematch?
I think it depends on what kind of adjustments Chase or Andrew makes. He's got to learn how to. He's got to get with a professional boxing coach. He's got to make adjustments to learn. This is not kickboxing. And I think he's got potential. He's got the right mindset. He's got the right. Obviously, he takes great care of his body. He does a lot of things that you want out of a fighter outside the ring. He doesn't. He's not doing all these different things. He's focused on his business, and I think if he takes it serious and he gets with the right people, he can perform a lot better than he performed a few weeks ago. But I think he had to see that firsthand to realize that. But he's got a lot of potential. But he's got to, obviously the window's closing fast, so he's got to get going.
Lee?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything BJ's saying. He needs to understand boxing. He looked like he ran out of answers. He didn't, yeah, a lot of fundamentals he was missing out on, and he needs to learn that in order to get the win. Because if he had good fundamentals, he could have won that fight. The first 2 rounds, he looked decent. He looked decent.
Yeah.
He looked decent, especially someone coming off a long layoff.
Yeah. Yeah. And would you go right back to the rematch or have a fight in between?
Only he knows why he sort of had a blackout in the ring. And then if he did have a mental blockage or blockade or anything, then he needs another warm up. But it depends what type of person he is. He might think, after warm up, I could beat you. Like, I know why I lost. Maybe I fatigued that adrenaline dump. But yeah, I don't know. Give him a couple months, 6 months. He can get back in there. He can get back in there and beat Chase. It's not like Chase is going to come back and beat anything than what we've seen.
He's going to be very similar, Leon. That's a great point. Mams, if I had tape for 3 months, I think it would be a lot more interesting of a fight. I promise you that. I've told you that before.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot more promising. And we throw Leon into the mix, then we got a different fight. And no disrespect to Chase and Gary, I think they do a hell of a job. I'm just saying that Andrew's got to be around professionals to get him ready for that type of fight, and he didn't realize what it was before. Now he does, and he took the loss so gracefully, like a champion, like an OG, like an experienced guy. I mean, you got to respect the guy. I mean, he really made the event, and Andrew, through the press conference to the weigh-in to everything, he was so professional, and he was just such a joy to work with. So you want to see a guy like that do well, and then you want to see a guy like Chase do well as well. So I'm really proud of Chase, and Andrew couldn't have said it better himself. But if Andrew gets with a professional team, I think he could do some damage.
Yeah,
maybe not against Chase, maybe at 200 pounds. But
my thing is just Andrew has shown that he's such a professional in everything he does that there's no reason to believe that he wouldn't be a professional in his approach to a boxing match. But frankly, he just surrounded himself with the wrong people. I don't want to talk negatively about his team, but he was with guys that aren't professional boxers, and you could see. Professional boxing, there's a different problem solving that you need to be able to land strikes on your opponent. In kickboxing, there's so much more range. Oh, I can't really touch you up top. All right, I'm going to start kicking you in the legs. And you could see Andrew just didn't have the problem solving ability. It was pretty clear to me. He just didn't really know how to solve this puzzle in Chase Damore, who is he's a funky character to figure out. And if he had had the right team around him that knew how to solve those problems in a boxing match, he would have been just fine. But unfortunately, he surrounded himself with people that, frankly, had fought their entire careers in MMA or kickboxing and was sparring with random guys. And this is all just what I'm getting off of what he posted. So maybe he was doing some other things. But fundamentally, from what he showed us, it was just a lack in preparation. But he's a professional, so why shouldn't he be surrounded by professionals? And they'll point him in the right direction. BJ, like you and Leon, 100%. It would have been a totally different outcome, I believe, if he'd been around people that have the right mindset for the sport that they're actually participating in.
Well, there's a loyalty factor, right? So imagine he's done. I imagine he's trained. I imagine he's trained with Amir, who's a lovely guy. Seems very, very nice, very cool guy. But imagine he's trained with him throughout most of his career, and then for his first actual combat sports event since he's been as famous as he is, he's like, hey, I'm not going to work with you anymore. So it's got to be an awkward position. But at the same time, let me put it this way. If I came to you and I said, BJ, I wanna fight an MMA fight, I want you to be my head trainer, what would you say to me?
No, sir, not for me. I said I'll be in the camp. I'll look over things. I can help out in certain areas, but I said that's not my strength. That's not my area of expertise. I wouldn't. There's a lot better qualified people out there than I would be. But I'd love to be there to support you and help do other things in camp. But as far as when you get tackled, when you get wrestled, when you get taken down, like you're talking to the wrong guy.
Sometimes politics are strong as well, and there's loyalty, there's all these principles, but maybe there's a way to configure having Amir still supervise it and be a big part. And so I don't know, but Chase says keep underestimating me, and he's saying that now about fighting Darren Till.
Chase deserves to be double champ or have the opportunity to try and be double champ.
Well, that would be the opportunity if he fought Darren Till. But people think it will be.
Would it be at 200 BAMs?
It would be at 205.
Ooh,
Bridger weight.
I like it. I would give Darren the edge because of his experience, but I think it's a good fight. It's a very good fight.
The edge, BJ. I think Darren should be a huge favorite. A huge favorite.
Yeah, I give Darren a big edge, but I mean, still. With that being said, the size and everything, and coming off the win over Andrew Tate. I never said what kind of edge, Riley, but I just said I would definitely give him the edge, of course.
Has Chase touched
the canvas? But at 205, I think it's a lot. 205 is a lot different than a 200 fight for Chase. I think those extra 5 pounds really hurt Chase. I think Chase might be a lot better at 205. 210, man, I think it's a very interesting fight at 210 or heaven forbid 215, but that's way too big for Darren. But 205, I think Darren's got the advantage.
Maybe Darren comes up and has the opportunity to be double champ and fights at heavyweight. Like either whatever works for both of them, but it's on the cards. I don't think it's imminent, but I think it's something that we need to look at some point.
If Chase wants it, and Darren's hungry for anybody, so
they both asked for it. So I was the one who was like, well, this doesn't make sense. Chase's star is shooting up into the sky. Darren's there, So when you got two superstars, if they're going to
what's Eddie Hall saying? Eddie Hall versus Chase.
It's funny you bring that up, but let's off camera.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got some good things in the works. And of course, our friend Dylan Dennis is waiting in the wings. He's recovering, so I think we're going to get him fighting again soon. Always a fun time. But yeah, we've got a lot of good shows being planned, and obviously MF Pro as well. We have the British champ, Vidal. His opponent was supposed to be Mr. Alloys, but he's ghosted. He's gone quiet. So we're going to find out if he's going to accept the mandatory or not. Because if he doesn't, we've got some other cool plans as well. But I'm very excited about that. So we haven't had a small council meeting for a long time. But we'll do it more consistently. Anything else anyone wants to add, guys? Thank you for joining us. This has been the Small Council. We'll see you guys next time. All
Thanks,
right,
man.
guys.
See you guys.